إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم، إليك أتيت منكسرا منيبا أغبر القدم. إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم، ونور هداك معتصم، فعاف النفس من زلل وداوي الروح من سقم.
This live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Suites, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands.
إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم، إليك أتيت منكسرا منيبا أغبر القدم. إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم، ونور هداك معتصم، فعاف النفس من زلل وداوي الروح من سقم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. Welcome to the special ITV Hajj broadcast coming to you live from our studios in Makkatul Mukarramah, where we take you on the greatest journey of a lifetime, following the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Alhamdulillah, the excitement is building now with just a few hours left before the HAJJ embark on this greatest journey of a lifetime. And I'm delighted to be joined this afternoon by Sheikh Hassan Pandey, a servant of the HAJJ from the Al-Jim Foundation, and Sheikh Riyad Walls. Once again, Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh Hassan, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to ITV.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Muhammad.
Sheikh Hassan, Sheikh Riyad, the excitement is building. People are a bit anxious also, not knowing what to expect, but alhamdulillah, the guests of Allah are about to embark on this greatest journey of a lifetime. What are the feelings that people are going through spiritually, mentally, physically?
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. It is a very unknown zone in the spiritual life of a human being. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had gathered the souls before they were blown into the bodies of the human beings, as the Quran testifies, where Allah says and asks them, Alastu bi Rabbikum, am I not your Lord? And they said, Qalu bala. They said, yes, absolutely, you are our Lord. Since that engagement, the soul has had a life of acknowledgement, on acknowledging the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And ever since it has been blown into the body of Bani Adam, it has to have a certain role and a certain physique to maintain in order to strike the balance between the physical, the mental, and the spiritual side of things. Therefore, we term this journey as an absolute spiritual journey. It is more spiritual than anything else. And because it is the unseen and at times the unknown, what transpires to the Hajj only becomes revealed and apparent after he has undergone this spiritual metamorphosis and cleansing process, mashallah, tabarakatah, and where he is drawn closer to the Creator who has questioned him, Alastu bi Rabbikum, am I not your Lord? And therefore he shall respond, the soul shall respond, although it comes from the tongue, yani bala, labbaik, labbaik. It's coming that I am here where you are on this day. So absolutely, a process is unfolding here that would never unfold in any area of the world. It is not a FIFA final. It is not your Olympics final. It is the congregation of souls for the sole purpose of recognizing the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This without having to consider any of their comforts, any of their possessions, any of their loved ones. They are in a certain degree selfless, and that is what is necessary to activate and enhance the spirituality, healthy balance of a soul. And this is what is unfolding here. And this is why it is important to mention that on the globe, in the globe today, we are 4.6 billion human beings, of which 1.6 billion are Muslims. And of that 1.6 billion, 0.0001% would ever perform this spiritual undertaking. And in that way, it is the moral fiber of society and humanity in the globe that these Hujjaj, this new spirit, this spirit of new hope and new positive energy that he has started from the day he entered into the holy shrine and the holy haram of Makkah, when he changed his entire lifestyle, where he used to start things from the left to the right. He is now commanded to change his world from the right to the left. You will start as what you have been commanded and as what the globe has been magnetically and by its gravity forces, it runs anti-clockwise. The blood flows anti-clockwise. Everything now is not from 1 to 12. It's becoming less. Your time on this world and your existence becomes less. So it becomes from 12 to 11 to 10 to 9. It doesn't start now from 1 to 2. You are going closer to your Creator, and your soul needs to live up to that, so that when the body decays, the soul continues. And that is why your Lord can tell you, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna. Do you find the satisfaction both spiritually? You shall live a peaceful, contented mental condition, and so too your physical self will be stabilized. Yani. Islam, the Risala of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, gave access to this life, the spiritual life of a human being, and the wellness and the well-being. This is the what we would call, this is the proper gym of the soul, and this is the time that the soul will come and meet its true moments, inshallah ta'ala.
Allah, you put it so beautifully. Sheikh Riyad, you can add on to that.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa ba'd. Brother Muhammad and respected viewers of ITV, I greet you all with universal greetings of love, mercy and peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, alhamdulillah, inshallah ta'ala, tonight the Hujjaj will be getting ready in the true sense of the word, going to take their ritual baths, their sunnah ghusl of the ihram, donning the two white pieces of cloth for the males, and the ladies, they'll also be putting on their ihram bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And in the early hours of the morning, inshallah ta'ala, after we have performed our salat al-fajr, we'll be making our way to Mina on the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah bi'idhnillahi ta'ala al-Wahid al-Ahad. And it's been a wonderful transition, because when the Hujjaj first came here, mashallah, they were enjoying the 5-star of the Dar al-Tawheed and the Sus al-Maqam and the Movenpick and the Ajjad Makkah and the Hyatt Regency and the Conrad, enjoying the buffet, mashallah, shopping at the Zamzam, you know, being dazzled by the bright lights, mashallah, spending a lot of time in the haram. And this has been vital, because had they not been going to the haram every day for the tawaf, for the salah, reciting Quran, making adhkar, they wouldn't have made that transition to where they are today. Because this is all part of the polishing of the heart. We all came here with dusty hearts, with rusted hearts, with dull hearts. And as the beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ صَدَأَ جَلَاءً. For everything that becomes dull, there is a polish. وَإِنَّ جَلَاءَ الْقُلُوبِ قِرَاءَةُ الْقُرْآنِ وَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى وَذِكْرُ الْمَوْتِ. And indeed the polish of the hearts is the recitation of the Holy Quran, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to remember death. Because as we have discussed in previous programs, Hajj is a pre-run for death. That's why the ihram looks like a kafan. And that's why when we look in Surah Al-Hajj, the first verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Yawm al-Qiyamah. So we are literally on this journey, a journey to Allah in this life, in preparation for our journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. And since, alhamdulillah, most of us first went to Medina to visit our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then we came into Makkah with an Umrah. And the cleansing process started. تابعوا بين الحج والعمرة فإن ينفيان الفقر والذنوب كما تنفي الكير خبث الحديد. When we came in with that Umrah, we were being purified. Like the iron or the metal is purified in the fire. Our beloved Prophet ﷺ says, follow up between the Hajj and the Umrah, because indeed they will purify you of poverty and of sin, like the fire purifies the metal. And now, alhamdulillah, making the tawafs, making the salah, making the istighfar. We have all come here with the burden of sin. We have all come here with our shortcomings. And every day when we go into the haram, when we make our salah, when we make our tawaf, beseeching the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for our sins. So now, after some have come here 7 weeks ago, some 6 weeks ago, some 5 weeks ago, but alhamdulillah, the heart is starting to shine now. The heart is starting to be purified. But we are still waiting for that ultimate moment. We are now preparing for that climax of the Hajj. And what is that climax? وَالْحَجُّ عَرَفَةٌ. Hajj is Arafah. Because inshallah ta'ala we're going to go to Mina for the sole purpose of what? Of refreshment. Of getting ready. Of getting the mindset right. That, Ya Allah, we have come here, we have answered the call. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, as Shaykh Hassan has so beautifully put. Here we are, O Allah. In the world of the souls, we testified to your oneness. We made a covenant with you, and now we are coming to renew that covenant. Where did that covenant take place? With our mother and our father? And the entire mankind that was assembled there, it took place in the precincts of Arafah. So we are going back now to renew that covenant, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And so on that day of Tarwih, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to prepare ourselves to receive the mercy and the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to believe with yaqeen, as our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has promised, Man hajja wa lam yarfuth wa lam yafsuq, kharaja min dhunubihi kayawmi waladatu ummu. That the one who performs this Hajj without any obscenity, without any vulgarity, without any transgression, without any corruption, they will exit from their sins like the day when their mothers gave birth to them. And if you look at the similitude of water, after we leave Arafah, فَإِذَا أَفَضْتُم مِّنْ عَرَفَاتٍ, and if you flow from Arafah, the similitude is very powerful, because water is used for cleansing. Water is used for purification. And literally, as the Hujjaj are going to flow from Arafah, they're going to be cleansed of their sins, and all their sins are going to be left behind. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So a lot of excitement, little bit of nerves and anxiety as well. But inshallah we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all the Hujjaj and accept from all of them and grant them all a Hajj mabrura. Ya Rabbil Alameen.
Ameen, Ya Rabb. Both of you have put it so amazingly. I'm sitting with goosebumps in my arms. Just the thought of that the people going, the people who are invited are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you just move back a second and you just think to yourself, the King of all kings, the greatest of all, has invited us, mere mortals, we've been invited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you just think about that moment for a second and close your eyes and say, oh my Allah, my Rabb invited me to his house, to his place for Hajj. We invited by Allah. It makes, something happens in your heart when you think about it, and you make so much shukr that the most merciful Allah has invited us.
Yes, absolutely. It is an annual event, and it is called in no other briefing by the Creator had He referred to having people come from the deepest of places. He says, yani min kulli fajjin, he could have said min kulli fajjin, but he says min kulli fajjin amik. Yani he's going to extract it from whichever hole they exist so that they can respond. Respond for what? Why is it every year responding for what? It's responding for a better tomorrow. The responsibility that lies on these privileged guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that from the deepest holes that they've been extracted, will they now Sheikh Riyad said, I must not use the word
Rebirth, we say.
we're using the word rebirth. But the energy that is going to be generated here is going to be after this sacrifice of having to leave the loved ones, the comforts. You have to sacrifice to reach that pinnacle. And from that moment onwards, you will flow in the nur of Allah subhanahu. Like the ruh, it is from the ruh, from the nur of Allah. وَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِن رُوحِ. It is part of the nur of Allah. That positive energy, nowhere do you find such positive outlook, such confidence being shown after a final moment in the presence of their Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala, where they will return to their respective societies, knowing that this world and this life is temporary, and that certain things needs to be abide to, and certain things needs to be upheld. You know, HAJJ in our culture has always been given an elevated status, not because they have money to go, no, but because they have a moral and religious duty to uphold after their return. They will uplift the positivity of society at large. They will be a beacon of nur to their families, to their governments, and to their economies. They will be an asset to communities. And this chain will continue with the 0.01% of humanity upholding this great nur that needs to be shining out from the hearts of those who have been purified. فَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ فَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ يعني.
Subhanallah. The thoughts that you've put across make it come so much more real for us, and I'm sure to the viewers out there, and it's also an encouragement to the viewers out there to make that intention. And so many times, so many of the ulama have said, this is not a visa from Sahuk or from the embassy. This is a visa, this is an invitation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The visas and everything is just a means, but we, the people who are here, are guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I think that's the important part. So I think maybe forget about all the logistics behind it and think that you are Allah's guest, so you need to turn to Allah to make that intention to come.
If I can just maybe give another angle with regards to, you know, the soul and the body. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and the Shaykh mentioned the verse, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِن رُوحِي, I blew into him of my spirit. Now this is a nisbah, this is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is attributing the soul to himself, just like he attributes the house to himself. Not that our soul is a part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is unlike anything and everyone in His creation. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be likened unto anything, and He is all hearing and all seeing. But just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honors the house by calling it Baytullah, He doesn't live in the house. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored the soul. He's created the soul a pure creation. The soul is a pure creation. Whereas the body is from the earth. خَلَقَهُ مِن تُرَابٍ. Mankind has been created from dust. And the earth is tainted. And then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts these two creations, the creation of the soul, the pure creation of the soul, with the tainted creation of the body, there happens the musara'a. It's almost like a wrestling match. And if we allow the carnal desires of the body to overpower the soul, it becomes corrupted. But if we allow, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, through that intellect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, to tune into that fitrah, that inherent disposition with which Allah has created us all, and that is to submit and to surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this journey of Hajj is that opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us to go back to the asl, to go back to the origin of the pure soul. And so we see from when we have arrived on this journey, Medina to Makkah, some first came to Makkah, then went to Medina, came back to Makkah, and we find ourselves moving further and further away from the comforts and from the luxury of the material world. And we find ourselves now, alhamdulillah, most of the Hujjaj now in Aziziyah. You know, a few days ago we were in the 5-star, now we're in the 1-star. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll be sleeping 100 in a tent, 400 people to a toilet. You know, and on Arafah, inshallah, it'll even be more simpler, maybe minus 1 star. And then eventually on Muzdalifah, we'll all be under the stars. And between us and the earth, a very thin piece of plastic. And the further we find ourselves moving away from the material comforts and luxury and extravagance of this dunya, removing it from our hearts, the more we find the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the focus on putting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first in our lives, that becomes something that is so paramount and important and fundamental in this, as you have so beautifully put it, the greatest journey of a lifetime.
Alhamdulillah, Sheikh Hassan, Sheikh Riyad, Jazakallah so much for your time. We're going to take a short ad break. Stay tuned.
This live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Sweets, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to the special Hajj broadcast on ITV, coming to you live from our studios in Makkah al-Mukarramah, where we take you on the greatest journey of your lifetime. I'm still joined by Sheikh Hassan and Sheikh Riyad. Sheikh Hassan, Sheikh Riyad, during the break we were just chatting regarding the unity that we see during Hajj. In Makkah al-Mukarramah, we see people of all races, all colors, all languages around the Kaaba making salah together. That feeling of unity brings so much heart, so much warmth to your heart, and you see that this ummah is one. We are one ummah hanging onto the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Absolutely, the practical side of it is that the rituals are there not to diversify in terms of this unity, whether whichever madhab you subscribe to. It shows the tolerance, it shows the oneness, it shows the ability for us within a ritual to coexist, to interdepend and to conform. And with that ritual being placed out there as a pattern of how to generate compassion and love and mercy amongst humankind, that in turns where Allah Ta'ala now takes it to a different level in the ritual by having everything basically stripped from you, O mankind. Here you are going to go in your two pieces of thobe, and you're going to show how selfless you can be, and at the same time how common you can recognize each other. Yani it's a very common interpretation, like where the ayah says, "Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum." I think for us coming from a South African background, where we have been scarred by the apartheid disease and the apartheid cancer, where we would feel inferior to the white and superior to the so-called black. This process where Allah has given us the opportunity to realize how insignificant color is and how important pureness of the heart becomes, where we don't have to evaluate each other on what your possessions are, but more so what is established from the heart and what comes out from the limbs. And this is the process that this beautifies this beautiful religion and this beautiful act of Hajj, because people don't know each other, but they start within a matter of weeks to love each other, to care for each other. There is no vested interest in this. It is absolutely shown that through the vehicle of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is absolutely peace for every existence that Allah has created subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fadal.
And subhanAllah, for that specific reason, as Sheikh Hassan has so beautifully mentioned, that it's one God, La ilaha illahu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whom there is no God beside him, La sharika la, and he has no partner. We associate no partners in our worship of him. One religion which he has made. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks in the Holy Quran, أَتُعَلِّمُونَ اللَّهَ بِدِينِكُمْ? Do you want to teach Allah your religion? وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. And Allah knows everything that's in the heavens and on earth, and Allah has knowledge of all things. So God, one religion, one ummah. إِنَّ هَذِي أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُونَ. Another verse, وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاتَّقُونَ. Indeed, this ummah of yours is one ummah, and I am your Lord, so worship me. In the other verse, I am your Lord, so be mindful of me. One God, one religion, one ummah. And if we practice that religion as it should be practiced, by default, you will see how the hearts will come together naturally, without having to go and purchase anything, without having to go take any courses, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Holy Quran, وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا. And call to mind the favor of Allah on you when you were enemies before. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala united your hearts with love and compassion, and you became, through His mercy, you became true brothers. One brotherhood. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the believers are naught save one brotherhood. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. So reconcile between your brothers. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. And be mindful of Allah with regards to that. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. In order that you might receive the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's almost like a natural event. When you come here sincerely, practicing the deen of Allah as it should be practiced, that you automatically connect with your brothers, whether they be black, whether they be white, whether they be Arab, whether they be Turk, whether they be Malay, whether they be Indian, whatever nation, race or clan they come from. You will find that wallahi, you witness it in the haram. Just with a greeting, Assalamu alaikum, and a smile. And brothers who have never met each other before are embracing each other. Sisters who have never met each other before are embracing each other. They don't even know each other's languages. But we have the same sha'ar. We have the same call. All labbaik Allahumma labbaik. When we greet each other, all saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And this trigger, it's like a trigger. لا تدخلوا الجنة حتى تؤمنوا. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, you will not enter paradise until you truly believe. ولا تؤمنوا حتى. And you will not truly believe until you truly love each other. دلكم على شيء إذا فعلتموه تحاببتم أفشوا السلام بينكم. Do I not tell you of something that if you do it, you will truly love one another, greet one another. And this is the gathering of Hajj.
Subhanallah. And finally, the HAJJ will be embarking on this greatest journey of their lifetimes tomorrow. But what lessons can they take following the Hajj? When they go home, what do they need to take to keep the istiqamah, to keep the consistency going forward?
And steadfastness.
Going forward. Because, alhamdulillah, we're in the environment here of that amazing environment of Makkah al-Mukarramah, Madinatul Munawwara. But going back home, the environment changes. Unfortunately, we're not in this Muslim country. But what can they do to keep that steadfastness going forward?
You know, Brother Muhammad, it's something that you're tapping into, which after many years of serving HAJJ, the greatest privilege Allah has granted us in life, is that you come to realize that this is not the end, it's actually the beginning. The energy and the bonds that are being forged over this very short period, people get to know each other for a month, but the relationship feels
Lasts
due
a lifetime.
to, you know what, due to that spiritual connection. It wasn't vested interest. It's not because you're driving this and you stay there. It was simply because you're a good person. And I'm a good person and I want change and you want change. And we realize we're not going to be around forever. And that kind of level of exchange makes that beautiful relationship. That is the relationship that we need to enhance as far as possible. That Hajj energy. You know, when you meet with your Hajji Bhai and your Hajji sister and brother, you know what? When you meet with your family and when you meet with a Hajj companion, that's a different feeling. And you can, it feels like, you know what? You can sit with that person for the rest of the day and you can enjoy a complete day. And that is the kind of energy we need to keep maintaining amongst that bond of human souls and Muslims. That is what we've embarked upon on the foundation and what we've translated it into a loyalty program with that crowd of people. They always inspire the coming Hajj, always exchange things that keeps them sustained in that spirit. And that is what we always have to elevate, inshallah ta'ala, bi'idhnillah.
Something which always happens to me when I go home after Hajj. And I will be in the supermarket. I'll be maybe walking down the road. And I will meet somebody. And automatically I will maybe not remember their name. Because, I mean, this year, alhamdulillah, there's about 800 Hujjaj that are with us, alhamdulillah. And you meet Hujjaj from other groups as well, mashallah. And I'm speaking specifically about South Africa because we're going back to South Africa. So if I meet South Africa Hujjaj, there's something that tells me you were on Hajj with this person. You stood in Arafah with this person. You can't remember when. You can't remember their name, but there is that special connection. Just like when we were together in the world of the souls. When we made that covenant, Alastu bi rabbikum? Qalu bala. Am I not your Lord? Nay, certainly you are. So the Prophet ﷺ says, Al-arwahu junudu mujannada, ma ta'arafa minha i'talaf, wa ma tanakara minha ikhtalaf. That the believers, the souls, are like a regimented army. You know when you're in an army together, and you do everything together, you parade together, you live together, you move together. And so, when you see each other, you automatically connect. The Prophet ﷺ uses this as a similitude. That we recognize each other. That's why you can go up to a complete stranger from China, or from Nigeria, or from Palestine, or from anywhere in the world. A believer here in Mecca, and you can immediately connect with them. Why? Because you were connected in the world of the souls. So we come here to reconnect, and then when we go home, that connection, subhanallah, is everlasting. And to maintain it, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, we just have to keep renewing that covenant. And if I can just end with this, that dua, Sayyid al-Istighfar, is a way in which we can live and make every day an Arafah day for us. Because Arafah is the first day is to recite, inshallah ta'ala, after every salah, recite the dua, Allahumma anta rabbi. Oh Allah, you are my Lord. La ilaha illa anta, there is no God but thee. Khalaqatani wa ana abduk. You've created me and I am your servant. Wa ana ala ahdik wa wa'dik. And I am on your covenant and your promise, mastata'tu, as I am able to. A'udhu bika min sha'tu. I seek refuge in thee from the evil I have perpetrated. Wa abu'u laka bi ni'matika alayya. And I recognize that all favors are from thee. Wa abu bi dhanbi. And I acknowledge my sins and my mistakes. Faghfir li. So forgive me. فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ. For indeed nobody forgives sins but thee. And with that dua, inshallah, we can make every day like the day of Arafah. Inshallah, for the rest of our lives.
Ameen.
Until eventually Allah removes us from this world. And He gives us that promised reward of Hajj Mabrur, which is what? لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاءٌ إِلَّا الْجَنَّةِ. It has no reward except for Jannah.
Sheikh Hassan, so much for your time. May Allah Ta'ala grant you and everybody in the groups, all of our Hujjaj, Hajj Mabrur, Hajj Mabrur. Ameen. And may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for the Hujjaj.
Barakallah fikum.
We're going to take a short ad break now. Stay tuned.
This broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Sweets, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Land.
Umma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to the special Hajj broadcast on ITV. I'm delighted to be joined now by a group of HAJJ who are going to give us some thoughts on what their hopes and aspirations are for the next five days or so, and as they begin the rest of their lives. Brother, assalamu alaikum, your name?
It's Muhammad Muhammad
And you from?
from Johannesburg.
Brother, it's your first Hajj. What are your expectations?
Alhamdulillah, Allah is a great opportunity to embark on a journey that is a journey of a lifetime for a Muslim. I'm hoping, inshallah, from the lessons that I've learned from arriving into Medina, coming over to Mecca, the lessons of brotherhood, of peace, of generosity, and patience. Most of all, it's patience. I hope, inshallah, stays with me, and it will help me now through those Mubarak days of the 5 days of Hajj that we are embarking on, inshallah.
Jazakallah. Brother, your name?
My name is Abdul Rahim. I'm originally from residing in Cape Town now. Alhamdulillah.
Sheikh, your hopes for the next 5 days, what are you looking forward to the most? How has been your trip so far?
Alhamdulillah, just like my brother have said here now, the spiritual upbuild coming here, dusty, like the previous speakers has been saying, living in style, if I may say so, and just breaking it down and proving to us once again that, we are nothing. We are totally nothing. And our hopes, we know, inshallah, biqudratillah, where we're going is expected from us. And we know that Allah is waiting for us. And that's a pinnacle. Going out there, making dua, making adhkar, reading Quran. We cannot make Allah greater than Allah is. Allah is the greatest. It is a wonderful opportunity. I think the one thing that most Hujjaj hopes for is that a Hajj Mabrur, Hajj Maqbool, and that inshallah that our lives beyond that will carry on in the same spirit as we lived with our brotherhood here in Makkah, in Madinatul Munawwara, and as well in Makkatul Mukarramah.
SubhanAllah, put it so well. I think that's the most important thing, is what we take back after the Hajj. It's well and good living like brothers here, but the moment we landed at Tammo International Airport, that brotherhood needs to carry on. We need to carry on being brothers. The sisterhood needs to carry on. Not the brothers and sisters, but the brotherhood and the sisterhood needs to carry on. We need to show that unity of the ummah, because as a united ummah, we will gain more. United we stand, divided we will fall. So we need to show that united ummah. Brother, any message for home to your loved ones watching out there?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, we miss them. Yeah, we miss them. We definitely miss them, and I'm sure they miss us as well. They are all in our du'as. Not only our family, our communities, the ummah at large, the country at large, each and every one, this is Islam. It practices peace, it is peace, and that is our longing, that this ummah can just unite, like they all unite, and will unite tomorrow, from tomorrow onwards, and be on Arafah and Muzdalifah, and doing the necessary things that we need to do, inshallah. So yes, our dua is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must give us the health and the strength, and they shouldn't worry. We're in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Alhamdulillah. Brother, any messages for you?
From my side, I would just like to ask for all in South Africa, those who haven't been on the journey of Hajj, prepare, have an intention at least, and you've got, through a media partner like ITV, at least you'll be able to see what this journey does to one when embarking and preparing for it. So at least just have that intention, have a small money box, put something in it, at least even if it's 100 Rand or 50 Rand or 2 Rand every day. But through your intention, it's not about the money, brothers and sisters. Is that through that intention, Allah will provide you that means for you to come to His home and for you to be cleansed. And another lesson is, once you're here, brothers and sisters, let's live together, let's live in harmony with one another, and let's show that the Muslim Ummah, the Ummah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is a special, be special, and spread the word of Islam in the four corners of this world, inshallah.
I mean, may Allah Ta'ala grant you both Hajj Maqbool, Hajj Mabrur. May Allah Ta'ala make it easy for you and your family. So much for your time. Alhamdulillah, it's so wonderful sharing the memories and the hopes and aspirations of the Hujjaj. It's something that we've been going on about the last few weeks, alhamdulillah. It's been the unity of the Ummah, Allahu alayhi wasallam. We need to be united. The brotherhood that we have here in Makkatul Mukarramah, Madinatul Munawwara, and the unity that we're going to be seeing in the next few days. And remember, you can catch the 5 days of Hajj on ITV starting tomorrow night, just after midnight. Tomorrow we'll close. So you're not going to have anything during the day, but just after midnight, inshallah, you'll start seeing the visuals coming through you from Arafah. I'm joined again by two brothers. Brother, assalamu alaikum, your name?
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hakeem David.
You from?
Cape Town. Cape Town.
And Uncle, your name?
Ahmed. Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Uncle Ahmed, where you from?
From Soweto in Johannesburg.
Alhamdulillah. So, Uncle Ahmed, we can start with you. You've been on Hajj. You've been to Makkah, Medina. What has been your thoughts on your trip so far? Any good memories you have?
Yeah, all I can say is that everything was all right for me. Everything was all right. From Abu Dhabi, Medina, and Mecca, everything went so smooth for me.
And have you enjoyed your trip so far? What are you looking forward to now in the 5 days? What are you aiming to achieve from these 5 days?
I just want to achieve a lot of things because I've never been here before. This is my first Hajj. So I would like to see some other things.
Alhamdulillah. Brother, your memories, your hopes for the next 5 days?
Alhamdulillah. You know, you've been, this is basically Hajj. This is what we've been here for, striving for the last 6 weeks we've been here. And alhamdulillah, tomorrow morning we'll be going to Mina. The last few days since Sunday, we've been sitting and packing and, you know, preparing and going through du'as that you prepared, you know. And all the people that asked for du'as, you know, that made du'a for you. And yeah, and everything you just have to switch on now and keep focused. And yeah, nervous but emotional. But alhamdulillah, this is what we're here for.
Any message for your loved ones back home?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, for my wife, Huda, she's back at the hotel. Allah make it easy for her as well. My father is currently in hospital, in Grootskey Hospital, going through various tests. Imam Muhammad Salih David from the Interior in Mitchell's Plain. Inshallah. And also my family supporting him, inshallah. And all the people, like I said, that ask us for du'as. Alhamdulillah, you will be in our du'as, alhamdulillah. And Allah Ta'ala grant us all a Hajj Maqbool and Mabrur, inshallah, and a safe journey back home. But at the moment now, we're just preparing and just keeping steadfast.
I mean, Uncle, any thoughts, any messages for your loved ones back home?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I would like to urge my brothers in Soweto. It's not an easy road for you to be a Muslim, especially in Soweto. So I urge them, let them become Muslims. Yeah.
Inshallah, you know, we speak about the unity, but now it's our responsibility to go back home and to show the beauty of Islam to our brethren in Soweto, in the townships, in Kailicha, in Langa, in Alexandra.
Yeah.
We need to show the beauty of true Islam, not Islam that they're seeing on certain news stations. We need to show them the true Islam, the unity of Islam, the Islam that says no to racism, the Islam that says we are one brotherhood, the Islam that elevated the Abyssinian slave to such a high level. That's the Islam we need to show to the world, to South Africa in a whole. And through us showing that Islam, inshallah, South Africa will have more Muslims than non-Muslims. And that's the dua we also need to make, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala grant both of you Hajj Maqbool, Hajj Mabrur. And may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for you over the next few days. As you said, you are nervous. It is a bit of a daunting journey, but alhamdulillah, we are the guests of Allah. Allah Ta'ala is going to look after us. And if we have that tawakkul, we put our faith in Allah, then Allah will look after us. Then we have no problem. Brothers, Jazakallah for your time. Alhamdulillah. This is the most amazing time for the Hujjaj. we have a few hours left basically. It's just a few hours now. It's not even a day. It's a few hours that we have before we embark on this journey of a lifetime. And during this journey, remember, we put our tawakkul, we put our faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you put your tawakkul, you put your faith in Allah, imagine how amazing this journey is going to be. Again, I'm joined by another of the Hujjaj. Brother, your name, assalamu alaikum.
Bakr, from Cape Town as well originally, but residing now in Johannesburg.
So you moved from Cape Town?
Many years ago.
People who've done
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
So you left the mountain to the city?
Definitely, for both sides.
Okay. Are you enjoying Joburg compared to Cape Town?
It's been a nice adaptation. It's been almost 20 years already. I was still in school when we moved up. So definitely settled in Johannesburg.
So you're now more of a Joburg, eh?
Definitely, yes.
Your trip so far, memories?
One that comes to mind would be probably the first moment we just arrived in Medina, getting off the bus and settling into the hotel. Unfortunately, our bus drove away with our luggage. So it was a bit of a mix-up there. That was about midnight, and we all wanted to take a shower, of course, and freshen up. As a result, though, basically just to pass some time, we just took a walk around Medina in the streets, and then as we came around, because our hotel was a few blocks behind, as we came around the next street, we saw the walls of Madinatul Munawwara. Then we decided to take a walk to the masjid, the two of us alone. And when we arrived at the entrance of the masjid, the adhan went off for HAJJ. So that was one of the most beautiful things I've experienced so far. And just to go into the masjid, the feeling, it's not something you can easily explain. Everyone would need to just experience that for themselves. But it's been a wonderful trip and a wonderful journey thus far.
You speak about the azan in Medina. The Medina azan is known all around the world. And when you hear it at the Tahajjud time, I think that azan would stay in your mind for the rest of your life. That beautiful azan, and you just think of Medina and you think of the peace and serenity of the place, alhamdulillah. And then you moved on to Mecca, which is the total opposite, with the bustling streets. And it's happening 24 hours a day, the city that never sleeps. And now, in the next few hours, you'll be embarking on the greatest journey of your lifetime. What are your hopes and aspirations, and what are you hoping to get out of it?
Inshallah, we will be leaving tomorrow morning. Of course, along with that journey, there's lots of mixed emotions and overwhelming feeling, lots of nerves and anxiety that goes with it. But inshallah, Allah accept, of course, all of us, we will be going there for the core reason for seeking Allah's mercy and forgiveness. And inshallah, Allah accept our efforts and grant that to us. And Maqbool and Hajj Mabrur, inshallah.
Ameen. So, your message for, I'm sure you have to send a message home.
No, definitely, yeah. Of course, like the previous brothers mentioned, we definitely must go to Munawwara especially. Inshallah, we will be home with them soon. And I would like to also just plead to my fellow brothers. Everybody's telling me that, one of the younger guys here and, comments like that, which just does feel good and positive. But I would like to urge my friends and family to also make the effort and come to this Mubarak place.
You mentioned being one of the younger people here. Don't you feel like the younger you are, the easier it is to do the Hajj, and it also gives you a chance to make that change in your life at an earlier stage in your life, and inshallah that change will remain with you forever.
Inshallah,
so
Ameen.
You young, the change will start, and inshallah Allah take you from strength to strength.
Ameen, Ameen.
And increase your iman at a tremendous rate. Ameen.
Ameen, inshallah. Yeah, no, definitely. There's also a lot of pressure to go with it, because back home how the life is, and there's lots of your nafs plays on your shaitan is always there, and sometimes friends and family as well can also put a thought or two into your mind. So inshallah, with this trip, once we return home, we'll keep up that spirit and that good deeds that we have been doing with our brothers this side, and continue to stay steadfast in the footsteps of our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
I think you mentioned something very important. If you just need that istiqamah and steadfastness, and inshallah with that, your success will be in this world, and in the akhirah. Ameen. Brother, Jazakallah so much for your time. May Allah Ta'ala grant you Hajj Maqbool, Hajj Mabrur, and all the Hujjaj. And may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for you also, because it is not testing, but it is, sometimes you'll have difficult moments. But inshallah, you're the guest of Allah. Allah will look after you. Jazakallah so much for your time. Alhamdulillah. As we meeting fellow Hujjaj here in Makkatul Mukarramah, we notice the excitement that the brothers have And may Allah Ta'ala grant all our Hujjaj, Hajj Makbul, Hajj Makbrur, and may Allah Ta'ala make it easy for everybody. We're going to take a short ad break now. Stay.
Live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Suites, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands.
Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the ITV special Hajj broadcast coming to you from Makkah to Mukarramah. And I'm delighted to be joined by someone who I have a lot of respect for, and someone who is my children's teacher. So we always look up to our teachers, and more so to our children's teachers. They give our children so much knowledge, and they assist our children in rectifying their errors, especially when it comes to the recitation of the Quranic Kareem and Islamic knowledge. So I'm delighted to be joined by Maulana Muhammad Said Banu from Lenasia. Maulana, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to ITV.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Maulana, off air we were speaking, basically many Hujjaj probably recognize the name, haven't seen you so many times to recognize the name. We see the books of Hajj, Hajj and Umrah Made Easy, Maulana MS Banu. They recognize you also from maybe also the LMA syllabus that people use. Maulana, I think the segment, let's discuss using the correct literature when it comes to Hajj, using the correct books, the correct du'as to read, because sometimes people have to do. So what should one look at when one goes upon getting the books, making those arrangements for Hajj?
You see, before the Haji sets out, he must know or find out which is book on the market, which is the most authoritative and which can guide him through, and which has been used by thousands. Because, for an example, my Kitabul Hajj, then we have the Kitabul Umrah with that, then we have Du'as for Hajj and Umrah, and we have Lady in Hajj and Umrah. So I have 4 books regarding Hajj. And I think that a conservative estimate of those books, not only sold in South Africa but overseas countries, goes in excess of 100,000, because many publishers publish books without us taking my permission, which I'm not concerned about. And you find that they are in turn selling their books in UK, USA, or other Australia or others. So like that, the book has been used very widespread. In South Africa, I think that probably there's no town that doesn't know my name. They might not have seen me, but if I go into any town and I say, what is your name? It's Muhammad Said Banu. Are you the Hajj Maulana? Oh, Maulana, yes, the Maulana. And you get that. So Alhamdulillah, it has proved very well. What I've been doing also is I've been keeping abreast of changes in the Haram. If you take some of the old books, you find that they just keep on republishing it. I don't republish like that. We see what is there. Like for instance, now the Well of Zamzam is not there. My old books have Well of Zamzam.
What challenges have you faced? Because I mean, the last time I was here was about 3 or 4 years ago for Umrah. When I was here, we still had the old Ottoman section around the Haram. We knew where the pillars were, where the Abu Hanifa section was. And when I came to the Haram last week, Tuesday night, when we made our Umrah, I was lost. I remember a time we used to enter through a certain door, Babu Salam, and then go down the ramp, and then you could just get that view of the Kaaba. And I think that I learned from your book. Now to even enter through Babu Salam with the amount of construction in it around, it's so difficult. So what challenges have you faced trying to change the book?
Yes, no, we have changed the book. You'll find that my new edition doesn't have Babu Salam. And the drawings also don't show Babu Salam anymore, because they've sealed it up. Babu Salam, probably, we won't say it's 100% authentic, but Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam entered from that direction. So you see very old books again, you find Babu Salam is elsewhere again, So like that, I've removed all that. I've removed the Well of Zamzam from my books, because I say go down to the well of Zamzam, drink Zamzam and make dua. Now there's no more well of Zamzam because it has been covered up for tawaf. So the well is still operating, but it operates the other way around. So like that, I've taken that out. Then there was a black line in the mataf
Where the
that
tawaf
to show,
started.
yeah, the tawaf starts. Now that became a nuisance, although for some Hajis it was the right guide. For others, especially during Hajj, people used to sit on it and never want to move away from it on that black line, because thinking that probably is some blessed line. The same with the well of Zamzam. They had a marking written in Arabic, Bir Zamzam. It was written there. So people now sit on top of that. So they've removed that also as well.
But I think it's important that they've done things like that. Some people might be a bit upset about removing things like that. But if you look at it practically, the mataf is so busy at any time now. Whether it's Hajj, Umrah time also, the mataf is so busy.
No, people won't shift.
To have a constant flow of people makes it very easy for the Hajjaj and for Tamirin on the mataf. Because you don't want to have any blockages, because one blockage could cause a stampede.
No, that is what happens is, people don't want to move. The police come, they shift the person, 2 minutes later the person is back there. And the police get tired of chasing people and does that everything. So one is the congestion here at the Hajar Aswad. Then the other congestion is at Maqam Ibrahim now, that everybody either wants to touch Maqam Ibrahim, somebody wants to kiss the Maqam Ibrahim. That is just an outward, it's two footprints of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam that are inside. People want to rub their rumal or their cloth or something there on it to make it more blessed. Somebody will then take it there. So anyhow, these two things have been removed. You can't remove Maqam Ibrahim. So they just have to leave it like that or let people, go by. But the thing is that this is all due to ignorance. Now, I know in India also, India, Pakistan, even Indonesia and these places, Turkey also, I don't know, there might be a very limited amount of books that are authoritative and that are, concise also. You have to have a concise book. Now, if you have to publish a 200-page booklet, it's very difficult for the ordinary, especially the Haji, and many Hajis are illiterate again. So that's another problem.
That's another point I would like to make is, alhamdulillah, from South Africa, we notice the Hujjaj are relatively young. Certain Hujjaj are old, but relatively the Hujjaj are young. And alhamdulillah, in South Africa, our literacy rate among Muslims is very high. But when one looks at other countries in the world, language is an issue, literacy is an issue. So that does play a role. But I've noticed now with technology also, the Saudi government have their apps. And do you think it's time for your book to move on to an app form, so that for the younger people to have it on their phone? I know for older people it will be a bit harder, but to move it onto a more technologically based.
No, I have no problem at all with that, because I tell you, I don't do it for royalty. So I don't, to me it's no loss that if I put it on, then there's a loss in the circulation or the amount of books we print. So the printers do it there. I just get a certain amount from them, my publishers, and the rest they sell out. And in fact, I have to buy my books. The author must buy his books in order, but then sometimes for resale or giving out. So I mean, for me to add this on, I think once brother Mahmoud also of ITV, he did once, I think at one stage, put something on YouTube. That must have been about 5-6 years ago. That was the initial stages when ITV started. In fact, I was the first person probably that they put on for Hajj and all that. So they put it on there. I have no problem. You people are in the technological field. You can get it, and they can go ahead with it. No problem. The only thing is they must not interfere with the text. The text remains the same. All the drawings remains the same, and well and good. They can take it on.
Well, I'm moving on to your book now. How long did it take you to research it, write it, and then continuously update it?
Yeah. All right. One is I didn't check on time, right? But when I came for Umrah in 1982, that was the first time I came. Then I came in 83 again also for Umrah. I realized that there isn't a book, a suitable book for Umrah. So I started Kitab al-Umrah. Now I started writing Kitab al-Umrah in the Rawdul Jannah in Medina, you know, so that at least I have the blessing of starting it there. Then I came to Makkah and I sat opposite the Kaaba, you know, and I take my notes and all that. And then when I brought it home, then I did up Kitabul Umrah.
But that was a very different time. You could sit opposite the Kaaba and there was
Anyway,
like so few people walking,
so
doing
few
the
people
tawaf.
walking. You know, the one year, that was I think in 83, it rained. There was nobody in the mataf. Not one. There was one fellow.
إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم إليك أتيت منكسرا منيبا أغبر القدم إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم ونور هداك معتصم فعاف النفس من زلل وداوي الروح من سقم.
This live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Sweets, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands.
Me and then we published it. So like that, then once twice also I gave Mufti AK Hussein also to have a look at something, and after that then I felt that now, you know, most of the stuff is correct there, although you can't call it a Hanafi book and you can't call it really a Shafi book also. That is another problem in our society. This book is a Hanafi book, so no, I'm a Shafi, or if somebody is a Hanafi, I won't use that one. They must use anybody. I don't say use my book. Use any book that is suitable, you know, any book that is suitable and that is good and it's easy. Now my book is in a running order. It's in a running order. You start from the Miqat, Ihram, then you entry into Makkah, the Tawaf, then the Sa'i, cutting of the hair and coming out of. So it runs in an order where the Haji doesn't have to look, turn pages here or turn pages there. I don't say I see 5 on page 20, the see page 45 for this. I don't have all that.
So the whole book is run in chronological order, according to what the Haji needs to do.
What the Haji needs, yeah.
To make sure that the
Then the other things, we just added the du'as on also there, a section on du'as, section on virtues of Hajj and all that. There's about 30 or 40 ahadith there that I've got there. And then also after Hajj, when you leave now, that is very essential. I've got about the spirit of Hajj as well. So it isn't merely like a technical book that only tells you how to do the Hajj, but it also touches on the spiritual side as well, because that is more essential, you know, is the spiritual side.
Also, you mentioned when you're going back home, I think that's also very important for the Hajis to know what to do when they get home, because here we're surrounded by ulama, by sheikhs who help us gain the spiritual level. Now when you go home, the environment changes, so it's very important to keep this, and I've mentioned it a few times, the steadfastness of the Hajj.
Yes, no, that is a very, very essential, you know. And another thing I've been emphasizing a lot is that, you know, copying the Sunnah Hajj. Now, many people want shortcuts, you know. Now, there is no need for shortcuts where there is a need. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as an example, at Muzdalifah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent the old people and the ladies away in the middle of the night to Mina. And he put Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhuma to take the ladies, take the group away. So, but the rest of them stayed in Muzdalifah. You understand? People don't want to stay in Muzdalifah. Why? Either taking the name of some imam that the imam says, no, you must leave from here. And no imam ever said, leave from here. The only way for the sickly, wheelchair cases, old people, ladies, you know, these people can go away after midnight, but the rest must stay there. You know?
Interesting thoughts put through, Maulana, but finally, the Hajj is a very important part of a Muslim's life. Alhamdulillah, we a few hours away now from Hajj.
Yeah, no,
Alhamdulillah. From your side, what are you looking forward to?
Look, what I'm looking forward to is that I make dua that the Hajjis must perform the Hajj correctly,
Ameen.
you know, and with the true spirit. That is the biggest thing, with the true spirit of Hajj, that not only here, in my talks now the other day, I was mentioning it, that after you stone the shaitan, when you go back home, you must stone the shaitan there also. Don't think that you've done your job here. Your bigger job of stoning the shaitan is there to stay away from evil. You know. Now these are the things that Hajj, you know. But now if we take it symbolically, you tell the Mufti Sahib, I threw 7 stones on this day. I threw 21, and I threw 21. Maulana says, no, correctly done. But that is correctly done. What about the spirit, the actual spirit? This is only the act, and the spirit is that it must bring in you that you got no part in my life anymore, because I've rejected you already in Mina, and I'm in South Africa or wherever, whichever.
Maulana, Jazakallah so much for your time. Really interesting thoughts. Alhamdulillah, from Malaysia, just giving us some thoughts on Hajj. And Maulana is an author of a book on Hajj. Alhamdulillah, we've come to the end of this broadcast. Join us again at 5 p.m. South African time, where we'll bring you more of the greatest journey of your lifetime. And then tomorrow morning, inshallah, we'll be bringing you some footage of the Hujjaj leaving Mina, leaving Azizia, going to Mina. That will be live tomorrow morning in the early hours of tomorrow morning, inshallah, starting at about 6 o'clock Saudi Arabian time. And then, inshallah, tomorrow night, just after midnight, our main Hajj broadcast begins from the plains of Arafah. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll be packing our gear, taking it to Arafah, and then just after midnight tomorrow night, tune in to ITV, where we bring you the latest and we bring exclusive footage from the plains of Arafah from all of us in the team. Have a wonderful afternoon until we meet again. Fi amanillah. Wassalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Sweets, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands. Live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Sweets, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands.
إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم إليك أتيت منكسرا منيبا أغبر القدم إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم ونور هداك معتصم فعاف النفس من زلل وداوي الروح من
Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. Welcome to the special Hajj broadcast on ITV, where we take you on the greatest journey of your lifetime, following the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. For the last few days, we've been talking logistics with many different tour operators, getting spiritual advice from the many ulama that we've been blessed to have in our studios. And today we have SAHUK with us, the South African Hajj and Umrah Council, and they'll be touching on what they've been doing the last 6 or 8 weeks that they've been in the kingdom, or even longer. I'm delighted to be joined this afternoon or this evening South African time by Maulana Muhammad Vaid, who is the Deputy President of SAHUK and the head of the mission for SAHUK in the kingdom, Hafiz Ismail Kolvadia. Maulana, Hafiz Sahab, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to ITV.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Maulana, as the Deputy President, let's start with you. How's the mission going so far?
Alhamdulillah, through the grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all's going well. We find ourselves at the very onset and the doorstep of the Hajjaj moving to Mina. Obviously, this is a very daunting task for SAHUK, for the officials in Muassasa, and obviously it is at a stage where the Hajjaj do not know what to accept. But all systems go, inshallah, and we're ready to begin the move this evening, inshallah.
Inshallah. Hafiz Sahab, you, the head of the mission, a very experienced member of the team. A lot of the SAHUK pictures on social media, we always see your pictures, so I think I can post the harder questions to you. As Maulana said, he wants to take a bit of a low profile today. Hafiz Sahab, if you take us back from the time you got here, the processes that were followed from the time you got here till the time the first HAJJ got here, and then we'll move on chronologically just to see where we are now and what's going to happen going forward.
Jazakallah. Firstly, I need to thank you for having us on so that we can basically give you the face of Sahuk, tell you what Sahuk is all about, what we've done, what we've achieved, and what we hope to achieve. Alhamdulillah, I'm here with a small part of the team, about 12 members. We arrived here on the 16th of July, which is technically about a week before the first Hajis arrive. The idea of us coming early is to facilitate the movements of the Hujjaj from South Africa. Alhamdulillah, I think I must firstly compliment the Kingdom and the Hajj Ministry for the electronic system that has been implemented, what we better known as the HAJJ system. It was implemented last year. I think this year it has been again enforced. Many things have been integrated in the HAJJ system. And I must say, from the experiences of the past, the HAJJ system has worked absolutely incredibly for us, because from a time perspective.
For our viewers out there who don't know what's the HAJJ, just give us a short explanation what HAJJ is.
HAJJ is a system whereby all your details are captured on the system electronically. The name, the passport number, your operator, your contract, where you're going to stay, what's the mode of transport, how many days you're going to stay, when you're going to arrive, what your departure is all about. So from A to Z, from the time you leave South Africa until the time you go back home, all information is captured on the HAJJ system, which is known as the electronic system. What has happened, to cite you an example, in the past when people used to land in Jeddah, it could take you anything between 3 and 8 hours to be released. Alhamdulillah, this year we've averaged about 2.5 hours, which I think is an absolute phenomenal achievement. The ultimate objective of the Hajj Ministry is to have a time period of 55 minutes. And I think if they continue in the manner that they are continuing at the moment, that objective would be achieved very, very shortly. In Medina, our average time was plus minus about 1.5 hours. So the HAJJ system has worked, and I think it's going to be something of the future.
Inshallah.
From there, obviously, we facilitate the movement of the Hajjis depending where you land, whether you land in Jeddah or whether you land in Medina. Our preference is Medina, because Medina is a lot more comfortable. Now, I suppose I'll have to retract and say that Jeddah is just as comfortable.
Because we're going to fly out of Jeddah next week,
exactly, exactly. So, you know, the only task you have from Jeddah is the bus ride that you take from the Hajj terminal to Medina, which also has improved dramatically. I mean, in the past we heard people saying 12 hours, 18 hours. Alhamdulillah, this year we averaged about 6 hours. Although the numbers have dropped considerably for people who landed in Jeddah. In the past we used to have a sort of a 50-50 split. In fact, sometimes 75-25 Makkah and 25 Medina. This year we had it the other way, 25-75. So we had 25% landing in Jeddah and 75% in Medina. We will still promote that. But those who landed in Jeddah, alhamdulillah, I don't think they have much to complain. Yes, there were 1 or 2 flights in between, barring the fact that maybe the computer crashed or there were bigger flights that came in at that point in time, created a bit of delays. What I'm telling you about is the average time spent. So I think, alhamdulillah, the system has worked. We have facilitated. I think most of the Hajjis, if not all the Hajjis, were welcome at both the Jeddah airport, Medina airport. We provide clinical facilities. I think what the people need to understand that Sahuk is a supportive structure. We're not the authority per se. We work in conjunction with the Hajj Ministry, the Muassasa, the Adillah, and we provide the necessary support structure to be able to facilitate the needs of the Hujjaj.
Let's come into my next question. I think Maulana or Hafizab could answer that question. Basically, a lot of people ask, what do Sahuk do? What's the job of Sahuk? We come with an agent, we're paying an agent a certain amount of money. Why do we need Sahuk? So, for the benefit of the viewers out there, if you could answer why does a Hujjaj need Sahuk in the kingdom to facilitate on behalf of them?
Well, maybe what we have to understand the background of Sahuk and its inception. This was instituted way back about approximately 20 years back in the Union buildings. And this is between the two, at that time, Department of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Republic of South Africa. And basically is to streamline the movement of a Hujjaj in and out of the kingdom. Sahuk had been constituted and had now taken on this responsibility. And it's a multi-pronged responsibility. Firstly, is the accreditation process, which is almost second to none in the world as far as systems is concerned. And just a brief, anyone intends to do Hajj needs to make an application on the system, fulfilling certain criteria, and he is then queued in a date and time priority. And that's how the accreditation process takes place as far as Hujjaj being accredited and given the opportunity to fulfill the quota for that specific year. Thereafter, as far as the operators is concerned, there's a separate accreditation process that takes place where intended operators that wish to operate or trade for that current year need to make an application, fulfill certain criterion to SAHUK, and that process takes place. Once they're accredited, they can then go into the market. Obviously, the dictates by which and the guidelines and the perimeters by which SAHUK operates is dictated by the Ministry of Hajj. And on a yearly basis, SAHUK comes with a team to sign the protocols and negotiate different agreements and concludes contracts with the Ministry of Hajj and its affiliates. And once that is concluded, it's taken back to South Africa. And as Hafiz has alluded to, this is a supporting role that SAHUK puts together to aid the different departments in making Hajj a successful one.
So basically, SAHUK interact with Saudi government departments while the agents interact with the Hujjaj and maybe hotels. So the agents are not working on a government level at all.
That is absolutely correct. Agents would facilitate your flight bookings, your contracts with hoteliers, certain legs of transport in between. But overall, as far as government services is concerned, those contracts are concluded by SAHUK.
Okay, so that I think that should clarify why SAHUK need to be here and what's the role of SAHUK. Hafiz, moving on to you, the size of your team in the kingdom this year comparatively to previous years, and also the size of the Hajj this year looks like it's going to be bigger. How does it affect SAHUK and the South African Hujjaj? Because we still have a similar quota, but the size of the Hajj seems to be much bigger.
True. We've got 500 extra this year. For 4 years, there has been a moratorium placed on all Hajjis throughout the world, where there was a 20% cut because of the renovations that took place on the Mataf. This year, it has been reintroduced. So yes, definitely, there's going to be 20% more people. There's going to be 20% more traffic. There's going to be 20% more challenges. There's going to be 20% more issues. So we accept that and we acknowledge that. From a South African perspective, yes, from 2,000, we've got 2,500. In the past, we used to have a team of 25 people. Now this year, because the quota was increased by that 500, we decided to add another 6 personnel. So this year we got a team of 31. 11 of them are medical personnel, out of which 4 are doctors. The balance are professional nurses.
With regards to the doctors, you have a male and female split, or?
We've got 3 male and 1 female. Obviously, the female plays a very important role in our team because, as we all know, that there are certain ladies that prefer seeing a female doctor. But alhamdulillah, I think over the last couple of years, we've tried to facilitate a female doctor. It's also subject to availability. But alhamdulillah, this lady has been available for 2 years, so we're very thankful for her for making her services in time available. So yes, she's a female doctor, 3, male doctors. The nursing staff are all females, 7 of them. And then we have the mission members. Obviously, the mission members have different tasks, different responsibilities. That is subdivided as we go on, as and when those tasks come. You have the coordinator for Jeddah, you have the coordinator for Medina, you have a coordinator for Makkah, then you have a team for the Mashayir, you have the team for the pelting program, you have the team for the shuttle program. So alhamdulillah, I think we have a good set of guys, a good set of soldiers. A lot of them are experienced. We try and maintain the core membership depending on the availability as well. Although we have a policy of 20% new recruits so that we could train them up for the future, because anything can happen to anybody. So the system has worked well. The structures are quite good in place. And with the result, alhamdulillah, with the blessings of Almighty and the assistance of Allah, we've been able to provide the service that we are providing currently.
With regards to the Hajj itself, we're speaking off air, and you mentioned the South team members do not perform the Hajj because of the duties that they are taking part in. Can you explain to the viewers the process behind that and the thought process of that?
In the past, people were allowed to make Hajj. That means the mission members were allowed to make Hajj. But I think the primary objective of the mission is to serve the guest of Allah. And whatever happens or whatever changes as far as the mission is concerned, as far as SAHUK is concerned, is based on experience. And it is based on the experiences that we had in the past, where some mission members reservedly would want not to do certain items, certain duties. And the argument would have been that I'm in ihram, so I can't do this and I can't do that. SAHUK then at board level took a decision that, you know what, because we are there to serve the guest, that shouldn't be our objective of coming on the mission. So one of the conditions we have is that you must have performed your Farz Hajj before you can apply to become a mission member. So the primary objective is for us to come and serve the guest of Allah, and that's the only reason that we don't allow members to make Hajj. But I'm pretty confident that the fact that Allah has given us the opportunity to serve His guests and to be on Mina and to be on Arafat, we will and we hope that we will get the same benefit that the Hujjaj gets.
Inshallah, Ameen. Maulana Hafizab, we're going to take a short break now. Stay. We'll carry on maybe after the break with what happens from tomorrow, inshallah, with the movement to Mina, Arafat and Muzdalifah. We're taking a short break now. Stay tuned.
This live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Sweets, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands. Live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Sweets, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We continue our discussion with the SAHUK team here in Makkatul Mukarramah, and with me in studio I still have Maulana Muhammad Vaid and Hafiz Ismail Kolvaria. Hafiz Maulana, welcome back. Before the break we said we're going to start chatting about the 5 days of Hajj that inshallah will happen in the next few hours now. Now we're into hours. Hafiz, from your point of view, what role does SAHUK play now for the next 5 days or 6 days for some Hujjaj, getting them into Mina, into Arafah, into Muzdalifah, back to Mina, the pelting, and then back to Makkah. So it's a 5-day program, but there's a lot of different processes that go into it.
Yes, again, I want to reiterate, it's a supportive program that we play. There are certain initiatives that we have to take, again, in consultation, in cooperation with the Muassasa. One of our challenges that we start off with now, immediately, that is the movement of the Hujjaj from Azizia or Makkah into Mina. Now, there are two different types of services. One is the special services, and one is known as the non-special services.
Let me just cut you there. What is the difference between special and non-special? I'm taking it for the benefit of viewers out there who might be interested in Hajj for next year.
Yeah. Technically, special services, in my opinion, is proximity. You are close to the Jamarat, plus minus 500 meters away from the Jamarat.
So you're paying more to be closer to the Shaitan.
That's technically what it is. Okay. That's my opinion. Again, like I said, people might have difference in view. The non-special services is approximately 2.83 kilometers away from the Jamarat. So that is the big difference that I find. There may be other issues. There may be a thicker mattress in special services and a thinner mattress in C. There might be a buffet in Camp A, but there's still food available in Camp C. But those are the basic differences. So what we do, because special services is a facility that's provided by the operators in conjunction with the head office of Muassasa, we're not so much involved in facilitating that transportation. And majority of the Hajjis, like if you look at it today, in this year, we got 2,500 Hajjis, 1,925 Hajjis are going to non-special services, and only 575 are going to special services. So we now facilitate the movement with the Muassasa of the Hajjis from Makkah into Mina. That is our first big challenge. So our primary focus now is to see how we can move every Haji into Mina tomorrow, inshallah al-Aziz, before Zuhr. There is a shuttle program system that they have implemented, which we have been using for the last 5 years. It has worked like a dream. I can't see any major changes or differences, because if we follow the same principles that we had followed in the past, it should be very similar. But again, I want to have some sort of reservations in the sense that we got a bigger crowd. So we might have an hour delay. We might be 1 hour later than what we were in the previous year. But inshallah, I am fully confident with the Muassasa and the cooperation of the Hujjaj and the operators, we will get our Hajjis into Mina before Zohar.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Now, with regards to medical emergencies, medical issues in the camps, do Sahuk deal with it in camps, or do they have to go to Saudi hospitals depending on the severity of the situation?
Principally, as per the protocol, we as Sahuk are not allowed to provide a medical service on the Mashayikh. Now, what we have done, we have negotiated with the Muassasa. We've told them our reasonings and our motivation as to why we would like to provide one. And we have come to an agreement. The reason is dialect. Obviously, people feel more comfortable with their own type of people and this type of things. But they've had also few challenges. So what they've said is that we will allow you to operate a clinic in an unofficial capacity on condition that you don't have any procedures on the Mashayikh. When they say procedures, no injections, no blades, no knives. So, other words, you're going to basically be doing blood checks, but they've even conceded, because we know the challenge at the moment is the dehydration problem. Now, dripping is technically like an injection, but because of the challenge that we're facing, they're allowing us to drip patients that are totally dehydrated. So it's a concession. But
So
other than that, nothing else.
So the weather does play a part. We've been
Major.
here for a week now, and the weather today was probably the hottest day in the week that we've been here.
Definitely.
So have you put any contingencies in place regarding the weather? Because expected weather is going to be between 40 45 for the next 5 days. Contingencies in place from Sahuk side?
The best contingency is what we can advise the Hujjaj, and that is hydration, hydration, and hydration. So we have marketed this, we have tried to orientate the Hujjaj. We're also saying to people that, we as South Africans are not used to this type of weather conditions. Avoid the walking Hajj. Now, yes, we don't want to become prescriptive, nor do we want to become dictatorial, but we can only tell you based on our advices and our experiences of the past, where Hajjis, fit Hajjis, have taken the walk and haven't managed. Not because they're not fit, it's because the conditions are very different from our conditions. So yes, we've got a couple of we've got drips. I mean, for example, I give you last year's statistics. We used something like 200 drips on the Mashayikh.
So basically 10% of the Hujjaj needed a drip.
Needed a drip. And people seem to think that we might want to keep them away from walking. No, we have no agenda behind that. There's no benefit to us. In fact, there's a benefit if you don't walk. But if you want to walk and something happens, we are there to serve you and help you. But what's the purpose of walking? And then you, on the most important day of your life, on the most, as you said, the greatest journey of your life, you know more in the health where you can now do justice to that time and period. So, inshallah, we hope and pray people take heed to this and take consideration that the heat is going to be a challenge. Again, we will be there to play the supportive role.
Malana, from your side, challenges that Sahuk face going forward, and Ismail Bhai will get back to you just to how we're going to facilitate the Hujjaj getting out of the kingdom. But for Malana, what are the challenges Sahuk face within the kingdom and locally back home?
Well, I think within the kingdom, it's just for us to be continuously abreast with the continuous changes that is implemented at the different government departments and government levels, which we do have a good rapport as well with, and we have a very excellent support structure from our Consulate General, who's based in Jeddah. So that opens the way of communication, which inshallah I think will take us a long way. As far as back home, as South Africa is concerned, it is our desire that each and every person can fulfill his desire of presenting himself on the Mashayikh. But what we need to understand, and people need to respect, that the Muslim population is an explosion, and the Mashayikh cannot contain and accommodate so many people at one time. And that is the reason why this quota system serves throughout the world on an international level. And that is something we need to be able to respect. People feel that this quota is being throttled by Sahuk and its officials and so forth. But this is a system that has been decided upon by the OIC in order to streamline the process that's applicable according to the Muslim population that each country holds. Quota has always been an ongoing question, and we are trying at our level best at every opportunity to bring this discussion about to get an increase in the quota. As a scarcity of the quota currently, we only give the opportunity to first-time Hujjaj. And as our queue stands of first-time Hujjaj, we're in excess of 22,000. So this is definitely a challenge for Sahuk, but we appeal to the public out there. As much as we desire that you should go, you need to be able to respect process And when the labbaik is there, inshallah, the opportunity will be given and granted to you.
And speaking about that, we've spoken to a lot of ulama. I don't think the visa comes from Sahuk or an agent or Muassasa or anybody. The labbaik is, your invitation is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think we also need to have that yaqeen that once our labbaik is there, Allah ta'ala will invite us because we His guests. Bottom line is we're the invited guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I think maybe Sahuk and the ministry are facilitators in a slight way, but the main invitation, I mean, you're the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the plains of Arafah, and we need to make the intention. I think that's the important point I'm trying to bring across. We need to make the intention, turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and put our faith and our tawakkul in Allah.
Absolutely.
Most definitely so. The effort we need to make and respect that effort and the processes, the rest is left to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To enhance that point, I mean, look at it this year. We've had it up to a 65% cancellation. So there were people that were accredited, but for whatever reasons they could not make it. And there were others that were accredited at the very last moment. So most definitely that is always superseding, that who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted that opportunity and written that He's going to be present, that will happen. But at the same time, we need to be able to respect that there's a process in place and what is the reason and the background for these processes.
So that's very important. I think there are a few misconceptions regarding SAUC, but alhamdulillah, over the past few months, we've had Brother Shaheen Yusuf, the president of SAUC, on ITV, on our platform, discussing it, and I think he made a good few points on the shows, explaining the misconceptions, and I think once we had that show, a lot of those misconceptions were ironed out, and people now seem to understand better what SAUC do. There was a time where SAUC were like the boogeyman when it came to the Hajj. But at the moment, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of Hujjaj over the last few days, follow it on social media, and the amount of praise that SAUC are getting, not saying it because you're sitting here, but it's natural. People have been full of praise for SAUC, especially certain people have been posting it. The messages are very complimentary. And may Allah Ta'ala take this organization from strength to strength and make it easy for you, because it is a challenging environment to work in, because you are dealing with a very emotional issue that people want to do something, and there are some legislative issues that may be a barrier to them. But on the whole, alhamdulillah, I think the mission has done its share. Afisa, once the 5 days are done, I think most people want to go on that first flight, so maybe next week Tuesday, that first flight's going to be out. Everybody wants to get out. What is SAUC's procedures moving on from there, and how long do you stay in the kingdom thereafter?
Majority of the members, myself and another member will be here up till the 18th of September. The agreement is that we leave after every South African has left. The bulk of the mission will be flying back on the 12th, which is the last flight as per the schedules provided for South African Hujjaj. So we just cover ourselves for another week after that, in the event somebody gets sick or there might be other issues that we need to wrap up.
But from South Africans' point of view, you don't have people staying here illegally or...
Alhamdulillah, I think we've never had that, and I think the authorities are well aware about this. They continuously mention this, that they don't have issues with South African pilgrims per se. They say you come first and you leave first. So I think that has been well respected in the kingdom. We don't have that issue. Our challenge is that when we come back, we need to prepare the departures, and sometimes it is a bit tight. For example, if you look at it this year, we'll be coming back on Saturday or Sunday evening. And Sunday we need people to leave because they need to catch that 8 o'clock in the morning flight. That was the only flight. The rule in the kingdom is that you can only leave on the 16th of Zilhajj from the country. And it was at 8 o'clock. Now if you look at the Saudi flight, it's normally at 1:10, 1:15 in the morning. They have moved that flight to 8 o'clock in the morning to facilitate the first lot of Hajis.
So South Africa will be the first lot of Hajis to leave?
Technically, yes, they'll be the first, because we'll be leaving on the morning of the 16th, 8 o'clock in the morning, is the first Saudi flight that will be departing from here, which they have granted us permission for. We had negotiated this when we came on the protocol. Now the challenge is that you need to manifest all that. Maaf, you need to now obviously speak to the Muassasa. They need to put all those passports together. The second challenge is to facilitate the buses, because at that point in time, the buses are virtually on the mashayir. So there's a tremendous scarcity of transportation. So we need to facilitate that part of it. But again, I think with the support of the Muassasa and the operators, we hope and pray that we will be able to achieve this objective and get the South Africans off
On a lighter note, what facilitation do you do at Jeddah Airport with all the overweight baggage? Because we know what happens to South. Can South play any role there?
Well, you know, what we tell the people, a lot of people when they come to the airport, they say make a plane. So I tell them, look, we're not architects. So we try wherever we can, but some airlines are very, very strict. Some airlines, there are concessions. So that is a challenge between the Haji and the person who's going to check you in. But again, the best policy is if you have excess luggage, send it off unaccompanied, send it off by post. I think it's embarrassing. For me personally, I wouldn't want to go there at the counter and negotiate my overweight. So yes, it is a challenge, but alhamdulillah, we've overcome them in the past, and I'm sure we'll overcome them in the future as well.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah so much for your time. I think South served their purpose in the kingdom. We've got a few weeks still. Most of the HAJJ have just maybe 6 or 7 days left. Sauk's team have quite a long time. Allah Ta'ala reward you for all the efforts that you put in, and also reward your families back home. Being away from families for 2-3 months at a time couldn't be easy, but may Allah Ta'ala take it from strength to strength, and let's see how it goes for the next 5 days. Inshallah, all goes well for the HAJJ also. Exciting times, also anxious times for many Hajis. Looking at the Hajis outside the hotel, you can see the anxiety in their faces, but inshallah, everything goes well.
Well, the new slogan we have, nothing to fear, Sauk is here.
Alhamdulillah. Maulana Hafiz Sahab, Jazakallah so much for your time. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this broadcast. Inshallah, the next time you will be seeing us will be, inshallah, from Arafah, where we will start our broadcast after midnight tomorrow night, and inshallah, if all goes well, we might be able to bring you some footage tomorrow morning as the HAJJ leave from our building here in Azizia. But inshallah, till then, we ask you for your du'as. To all our viewers out there, remember us, our team and all the HAJJ in the kingdom in your du'as. Fi amanillah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This live Hajj broadcast is brought to you by Oasis, Broadway Suites, Stumbo Pops, Standard Bank, Sunfoil. Stay tuned as we bring you live coverage from the Holy Lands.
إلهي واسع الكرم ورب البيت والحرم إليك أتيت منكسرا منيبا أغبر القدم إلهي واسع